Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Ariel Dionato, and I am the Program Manager for WLI Americas, and will be assisting both Emma West and Mackenzie Makepeace on today's webinar. Emma West is a partner at Bousfields Incorporated, a leading planning and urban design consulting firm based in Toronto and Hamilton. Emma is also an active member of ULI, having held local and international leadership roles. She is currently the chair of the Women's Leadership Initiatives Americas Executive Committee, a member of the Americas Executive Committee, vice chair of the ULI Americas DEI Committee, and a global governing trustee. Mackenzie Makepeace is a managing director of DiGeronimo Development, a full-scope developer out of Cleveland, Ohio. Mackenzie is also an active member of ULI, currently serving as the incoming chair for the Women's Leadership Initiative Americas Executive Committee. Mackenzie previously served as the chair for the YLG Americas Steering Committee and is currently the vice chair of the Commercial Retail Development Council Blue Flight. Both ladies are longtime members of ULI and experienced leaders within our industry. So I would love to now turn over the webinar to both Emma and Mackenzie.
Thanks, Ariel, for the introduction. Good afternoon or good morning, everyone, depending on where you're located. We're really thrilled that you could join us here today. We are so excited to have the opportunity to share what WLI does and the impact of WLI, the Women's Leadership Initiative. We've got lots underway, and there are many different ways to get engaged with WLI. Today, we'll be covering what WLI is, what we do through WLI, and what the impact is, and how people can participate in WLI. And that includes some of the events that we have, some of the initiatives that we have, but also ways for organizations to help support the work that we're doing. So if you go to the next slide, we'll get started. So what is WLI? And you'll hear those three letters roll off our tongues many times. The Women's Leadership Initiative was started back in 2011. So we're 14 years in. A mission was created for the Women's Leadership Initiative, and that is focused on raising the visibility of women in the industry and within ULI, and increasing the number of women in the industry and ULI, and just generally supporting women leaders in ULI and the real estate industry. All women members of ULI are automatically a part of WLI. WLI engages male allies to support its mission. The WLI Americas Executive Committee actually has 3 men that sit on that, and I might see one here today. We at WLI also work to support ULI's mission pillar to educate the next generation of diverse leaders. Next slide. So what does WLI do? How do we support that mission? It's broad and diverse in terms of what we do. We provide leadership opportunities in ULI and the commercial real estate industry. We showcase women leaders. We foster meaningful connections, and we work to increase the pipeline of diverse women and women leaders. If you go to the next slide. So what's WLI's impact? And I'm going to describe this here in terms of the metric side of it. But this is something that we at WLI Americas have looked into, including the work that we recently did to complete a strategic plan. When we hit the 10-year mark for WLI, we celebrated that moment, but then we stopped to think about, where do we go from here? Do we want to change anything up? We've kept the same mission, but we've added focus in different areas. But one of the key things that we did was look at our success and figure out how we can track that success. So we've got a lot of data other than what you see here, but this keeps it really simple. So as I said, we started in 2011. You can see here that the data is from 2012. That's in the light green, and in the dark green, that's 2024 data. So the number of women members has increased from 20% to 31% over that period of time. So that's about 5,700 members up to 11,600 members. There's been a similar percentage increase in women leaders in ULI, and the number of women speakers has doubled in that time. Particularly if we think about the mix of people at spring and fall meetings. So if we go to the next slide, I'm going to hand it over to Mackenzie.
Thanks, Emma. So how do people participate in WLI? We currently have opportunities at the Americas level and at local district councils. I will also say that there are opportunities within Asia, but we're going to kind of focus on Americas and district councils today. So do you want to go to the next slide, Ariel? So to engage locally, we have, I think, 49 district councils that have WLI chapters or groups within the district council. And all of these district councils actually have WLI programming. So there's WLI specific programs. There may be mentorship programs within your district council, networking events. And I think the best way to get connected is through your local staff person. So these WLI groups also have a WLI chair. And so your local staff person would be able to connect you with the chair and really help you understand the full breadth of programming at your individual district council. Ariel, do you want to go to the next slide? I think the next slide just shows where we have WLI embedded within the district council. So you can see, there are a lot of opportunities, and hopefully you recognize your district council highlighted with a little dot. If you don't, Emma and I would be more than happy to help you figure out how to set up a local WLI group within your district council. And it's obviously been done a number of times, so it wouldn't be recreating the wheel. There would be many other district councils that could kind of figure out how to get buy-in. And I will talk personally from the Cleveland District Council. So I sit in Cleveland, Ohio. And when we started the Women's Leadership Initiative here, the number of women leaders, I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but have notably improved. And the overall engagement of women in our city has been amazing. We have many more women speakers on all of our panels. We no longer have any manels. And we have, fostered a new group of women who are, go anywhere from junior to very senior in their career, who were not already engaged with ULI, but have now become, I guess, first WLI members, but now more engaged ULI members because of the creation of the group. So strongly encourage you to get involved locally and or help start a local group if your district council doesn't already have one. Next slide, Ariel, or whoever's running. And there's also ways to connect with us at the Americas level. So Emma and I represent the WLI Americas Steering Committee, and there are opportunities for you and or people within your organizations to help join our committee. We're actually soliciting new members right now, so we will be making selections for people to join our executive committee this summer. But we have regular board turns, so there are always new opportunities to get more women engaged within our executive committee. We also have regional exchanges, so that's pushed out through emails from ULI, but there are many opportunities to connect with women regionally through these regional exchanges. And then we have a lot of programming at both the spring and fall meetings. So we'll touch on what we're planning to do in Denver, which is obviously coming up in a few weeks, but we have regular programming at all of the fall and spring meetings. Next slide. So here's just a look at some of the WLI specific programming that's going to be at the spring meeting in Denver. So on Tuesday, we have a WLI Americas Coffee Connect, and I really encourage you to join us there. So Emma and I will be there, and it's really an opportunity to meet with other women who are attending the spring meeting, but will be also an opportunity for you to learn more about our program of work and see the impact and see people who have been, I guess, influenced by the work that we're doing. So we will be inviting people who have received grants from WLI. We'll be inviting our Prologis scholars, so people who we are sponsoring to be on product councils and placed on product councils at the meeting. And then we will also be inviting entrepreneurs who have applied through the entrepreneurs program that Emma will go into in a little bit. But it's a great opportunity for you to actually see the people that are being impacted by the programs that we're doing. From 11 to 2, we are going to have our WLI America's Entrepreneurs and Mentors Lunch and Learn. And so Emma will get into a little bit more about what this program is, but it's a great opportunity for us to use the spring meeting to connect people who we're touching in person. And then from 2:30 to 3:30, and this is on Wednesday actually now, right, Emma? Yeah, so it says it's on Tuesday, but it's now on Wednesday. We're gonna have, we generally have a view from the top. It's kind of one of our signature programs. So we will be interviewing Diane Hoskins, and it will be a great conversation with a woman who, you know, obviously is at the top of the real estate game, but is also very influential in ULI. So we try to do these programs at both the fall and spring meeting where we're interviewing women who are having an impact on commercial real estate. And then from 6 to 9, this is a really interesting opportunity. And the next group, so the people who are aging out of young leaders have actually borrowed this idea from us. So I think they probably see value in it too. But from 6 to 9, we're going to have these dine-arounds where you know, I think the great way to get the most out of fall and spring meetings through ULI is find ways to kind of break the meeting down. There are so many people going, so this is a real opportunity for you to get in a room with a smaller number of women, not just, you know, thousands, and have meaningful conversations. I will say, if you're a man and you would like to join a dine around, I think we would be more than open to that, and we love to have our male allies who are wanting to advocate for women within commercial real estate be a part of all of our programming. But these are a nice opportunity to see some different restaurants around Denver and to meet new members. Next slide. And then we have a couple of programs that we've actually kind of backed with the WLI name. So these are concurrent programs. One would be Wednesday, May 14th, Old School, New School, and then you know, from 11:30 to 11:50, How to Eat an Elephant, a guide for tackling large buildings. So what we've tried to do is make sure that you know, we're advocating for programs that highlight women at the spring meeting, and these are two of those sessions that you can attend and see women and how they're impacting commercial real estate. Next. And then I'm going to pass it back over to Emma to kind of talk about how we can impact your company.
Thanks, Mackenzie. I think that was a great overview of how, as an individual, there are different ways that you can get engaged in what WLI is doing. And again, we're always happy to help facilitate that. So if you are coming to one of those events, or as Mackenzie said, thinking about WLI in your local area, that's something that we'd be happy to chat with you about. But there's more to this as well. WLI can have an impact on your company as well, because it helps your organization gain exposure and visibility to the 11,000 plus women members and influential leaders by being a part of WLI. You can also help to influence content of America's level WLI programs. You know, we've touched on a few of the things that we do, and we're going to tell you a bit more about some of our other initiatives, but we really do look to our company partners to help influence where we take the initiative. Often there's opportunities for speaking roles, clearly networking at WLI, high profile and well-attended events. Most of those events that Mackenzie highlighted over the past few years have sold out and sold out quickly. And then, of course, getting profile in marketing materials such as the WLI newsletter articles, email blasts, and social media. If you go to the next slide. So we're going to go into WLI investment opportunities in a little more detail. So if you go to the next slide, we're going to cover the Entrepreneurs Program that Mackenzie mentioned and also the Innovation Grants Program, and then just briefly touch on a couple of the other things that we're doing. So if you go to the next slide, there is an opportunity to support the Entrepreneurs Program, and that would be for a title sponsor role for $75,000 annually and a 3-year commitment. And Mackenzie touched on this briefly. I'm going to give you an overview of what the program is and what the opportunity would be for your organization to get involved. So we launched this program at the end of last year. We had a launch and learn at the fall meeting. And speaking about events that were sold out and standing room only, we had to bring in more chairs. We hadn't even formally launched the program at that point, but there was a significant amount of interest. The program had applications open just after the fall meeting, and we received 88 applications for 5 positions for a brand new program. So that just shows that there is a lot of interest in supporting women entrepreneurs through ULI. And this actually showed up as something through our listening tour and in preparing our strategic plan that was identified as a priority. We hear a lot about how the struggle is a bit more real for women entrepreneurs. And so we wanted to try and find a way for ULI to help support that. At the same time, we had interest from Nancy Lachine, who you can see here on the screen, who is a global governing trustee who has supported ULI and had a real interest in supporting women entrepreneurs because, she has lived experience in that. So bringing those two things together, we started to think about what would be the best way to support women entrepreneurs. And so we've set up the program. So it's an annual process where we choose a cohort of promising entrepreneurs. As I said, we had over 80 applicants for 5 spots. And it was a very detailed application process because we really want to be able to help support these women to answer a question or, deal with an identified challenge that they are trying to address in the organization. And so what we are doing is matching them up with mentors, multiple mentors for one entrepreneur, so that they can really work through how to address that challenge in their organization. So it's very specific to them. It's specific to their organization. And that will happen through meetings on a regular basis with their mentors and the entrepreneurs. They will also gain experience from their peers as well, because we're going to be getting all the mentors together and all of the peers together. And we will have 4 of those sessions throughout the year where everyone comes together. But then outside of those meetings, the mentors and the entrepreneurs will be meeting. Because we had so many applications, we are also thinking about whether or not there are spin-off programs that we can establish to feature entrepreneurs. We want to make sure that we're supporting the amazing women who didn't get selected, because it was really difficult to just pick the 5. And we want to make sure that we're finding ways to support the other women. So lots of great content that is really going to support these women entrepreneurs succeeding in the industry, and also, strengthening their connection to ULI and their commitment to ULI as well. So if we go to the next slide, what the opportunity would bring for a corporate partner would be your name would be in the title, and we can show you how that works for another one of our programs in a few minutes. Input into the program content. We have been mapping out what the program content is going to be, what the curriculum is going to be, but there's certainly still lots of opportunity to help build that. This would also bring a seat at the WLI America's Executive Committee table. We've got that with other sponsors, and we find that to be really valuable. Of course, logo recognition in marketing materials like emails and the WLI website, recognition and opening remarks at spring and fall meeting, in-person workshops for the entrepreneurs program and the webinars. Of course, recognition and opening remarks at concurrent sessions that feature the entrepreneurs. And then, we would look to you to get quotes from your company if we're putting out articles on the entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurs program in the newsletters that go out from WLI, and certainly an opportunity to network with the senior ULI members who are going to be the mentors when they are at the spring and fall meetings and the other sessions that we have. And of course, helping to engage and support the entrepreneurs themselves. These are 5 incredible women who I think we all want to get to know. So if we go to the next slide, I'm going to hand it back to Mackenzie, and she's going to talk about the innovation grants.
Yeah, so the innovation grants are a unique opportunity because it's a program that unlike entrepreneurs that we're launching now, it's a program that has been that we've been putting on for a number of years now, and so we can talk a lot about the impact that it's already had. But generally, the innovation grants are ways for us to help raise up ideas at the district council level. So we provide seed money to district councils. They have to, provide a plan of how they're going to use this money, and it's to really get programs or initiatives off the ground that will be impactful locally, that hopefully we can reproduce across the Americas, and/or actually disseminate or create programming at the Americas level. And this year it was we just finished kind of making our selections, and there were so many great applications that ranged all the way from creating a certificate program to help mid-career women grow in leadership roles, all the way to a local version of the dine arounds that we do at the fall and spring meetings. So you can see they're very different, but they all have I think great impact locally, and these aren't large dollar checks, but they go a long way at the district council level. So for the innovation grants, we're looking for a title sponsor for $50,000 annually and a 3-year commitment. Next slide. And similarly to the entrepreneurs program, you'll get an opportunity to have recognition and get featured both at the fall and spring meeting, but then also throughout the year. So because these programs, we have either an awards ceremony or some sort of gathering at the fall and spring meeting, there's that opportunity for recognition. But because these are, these grants, for example, go out, and then there's work that's been being done throughout the year, and then we will actually report back out on, how did the grants, create impact? How was that impact measured at the local level? So there's a lot of feedback we can then give to the sponsors, a lot of, I think like quotes, and you would actually be able to see the impact locally. And I think that's a little bit different than maybe sponsoring other events that only happen at the fall and spring meeting. So you would get your company name in the title. You would have a seat on the WLI America's Executive Committee. You would have recognition in all marketing materials. You would have input into the annual theme. You'd have opening remarks at the spring meeting, Coffee Connect, which is where we announce the winners, recognition in a webinar from the WLI leaders featuring the winning projects, and recognitions and a quote from your company, an article on the winning programs in the fall WLI newsletter. I think the other thing to recognize, not only about this program, but about the entrepreneurs, is that this is like very meaningful for the people who receive either the, acceptance into the entrepreneurs program or a grant, and having your company name tied to that, I think is meaningful for the women who are doing the work over the course of the year. And it's funny, we used to have a sponsor for this, and I frequently still call it by that sponsor's name because it becomes synonymous with all of the great impact and work that is being done through these seed grants. Next slide. So this is a little bit about the impact of the program so far. Since 2016, we have 45 grants of $2,500 to $10,000 that have been awarded. I would think, Emma, this does not include the ones that we're planning to award at the spring meeting. So we have another about $30,000 worth of awards that we will make at the spring meeting. 30 district councils across US, Canada, and Mexico and Asia have received grants. And the programs have been very successful. And I think one of the things that we're implementing this year is not that I think in the past we've done a good job of trying to understand the impact that it's had and having report outs from the district councils, but I think that's going to be more formalized going forward, which I think would be great for whoever is going to be the title sponsor, because you would receive all of that information. You would understand who's getting these, what women are being impacted, how many women, what district council. So there's a lot of data that we would be able to provide on the impact of your dollars. Next slide. And then here's some examples. I know I gave two from just our most recent group of applications, but some of the other things that have come out of the innovation grants are a WLI regional summit. We've introduced diverse high school students to commercial real estate careers. There's been a number of training and mentorship programs that have come out of the grants. And then there was a really interesting one that focused on raising the visibility of women professionals by creating a digital media program. And they actually created this digital platform. So there was work that went into creating websites and really populating the content that I thought was unique. It's not just, you know, a program. And then finally, leadership training to young women to build, you know, confidence and skills. A lot of that is, you know, almost like speed networking, and things like that. We see a number of applications around how to bring the next generation of women into commercial real estate. Next slide. And I'll pass it back to Emma to talk a little bit about some of our other opportunities.
Thanks, Mackenzie. And so I think what everyone here is getting the impression of is that WLI is doing a lot of work at the Americas level. And, you know, there's even more that happens at the district council level. We just want to share a couple more things with you. The Prologis Leaders program, you heard mention of it in terms of what we do at the spring and fall meeting, but we just want to touch on this a little bit more here as another example of a corporate partner that we have and have had for quite some time that helps support WLI programming. And to Mackenzie's point about the name of one of our programs being synonymous with the sponsor, in this case, everyone knows that it's Prologis Leaders. And, you know, this it's similar to some of the other programs like the innovation grants and the entrepreneurs program. This is a vetted program. People apply and there is a highly experienced review committee that has to pick the 10 women who get selected. This year, again, we had over 80 applications for this. It's really competitive to get one of these 10 spots. And, you know, people know the importance of getting one of these spots in terms of, you know, what it means to their future career path, but also their path within ULI. The impact of this is immense, and I'll touch a bit more on that, but it really provides a prestigious achievement that is recognized because we've been doing this for so long that can really help women advance in their careers. So if you go to the next slide. So, oh, sorry, if you go back to the Prologis one, I did want to mention as well that, you know, we even see, and we've done some research on this in terms of the impact of engaging women in this program. Many of the members of our WLI Americas Executive Committee were Prologis leaders in the past. And so, they got profile from being selected. We got to know them, but other people got to know them, and they found their way into leadership roles within the organization. Many district council and product council chairs have received this recognition as well. And even many members of the ULI Americas Executive Committee also were recognized with this. So it's been fundamental to raising the profile and providing more leadership opportunities for women within ULI. Now, on to the next slide. Mackenzie went through the programs that we have at the upcoming spring meeting, and the set of programs is pretty typical across the board at all spring and fall meetings. And there are certainly opportunities to sponsor WLI's activities at the spring and fall meetings. And, Mackenzie went through what the Coffee Connect networking event is, and the concurrent sessions, and the short thought leadership sessions that WLI presents, and of course the curated conversations dine-arounds event. All of these items fall under the sponsorship for the spring or fall meeting, and so you can reach out to any of us here, but those get covered in the spring and fall meeting sponsorship guide, and that includes the benefits and pricing as well. So I think that brings us to the end of what we wanted to cover in terms of what WLI Americas does, and the opportunity for each of you or other folks in your organization to get involved in WLI in various ways and to support WLI. We know we have a lot of impact on providing opportunity and showcasing the great things that women in our industry are doing. And as Mackenzie and I have both said, we really love the male allies who help support this as well. So we can go to the Q&A now.
And if anyone has a question, you're also welcome to drop it in the chat and share it.
We're happy to answer any questions about what WLI does, upcoming events and initiatives. And as Ariel said, drop it in the chat, or I think we can unmute and chat with people.
And if we don't have any questions, or if you'd prefer to ask them to us personally, I think Emma and I would both make ourselves available. And that goes for, people who are listening to this recorded and not live today. But, we're passionate about, getting the word out about WLI, making sure that, the corporate sponsors and women and male allies throughout the organization understand what we're doing, our impact, and where we see our group going. So we'd love, be happy to connect with you via email, on a call. Both of us will be in Denver. So if there's an opportunity for us to meet with you and or someone from your company, I think Emma and I would both find time to carve out, some time at the spring meeting to have those in-person conversations as well.
That's it. It seems like we've covered a lot today. We've probably given you a lot to process. And so, as Mackenzie said, if something crosses your mind after you've watched this or logged off, we're more than happy to follow up and connect with you.
And I'll go ahead and put my email in the chat in case anyone wants to take us up on that.
Hi, this is Jess from ULI. Oh, I have background noise. Hold on one second. Is that better? No.
it looks like Jess is going to be sending out the presentation to everyone, and she'll include our email addresses. And I think we've probably given people a lot to think about, and we can log off. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time today, and look forward to connecting with you in the future.
Yes, thanks so much and have a great day.